Good morning, traders. This is Wilkey with StartupTrading.com. It is 8:53 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, uh, July 24, 2020. This is not monthly options X, so we could get a little bit more activity than we did last Friday. So as we look at yesterday's action, right? This is the bounce. You can see Russell just had a normal day. It did, get up above the previous day's high, go down below the previous day's low because Wednesday we have very narrow ranges, right? But it did just end up trading back in values where it settled around auctioning. So no big deal for the Russell yesterday. However, the other three indexes, after being up at around and above the previous day's high in the overnight session, the bell opens, right? Can't take out the overnight high, or can't take out the previous day's high. Can't take out really value area high. Can't take out, even get to the settlement for the Dow, right? And flush down. And we'll talk about some different distributions here in a second. If we look at the overnight value areas that were coming into the session, so these are developed from just looking at the session start to when the session, the opening bell rings. So from 6 p.m. Eastern until 9:30 a.m., these profiles are developed on the lower side to give us a clue on what the overnight traders in the session are doing. So we look, again, nothing really going on for the Russell. You can see as it pops up, it goes back down and through, and just, standard day. It gets a little bit above it, can't get anything going, no trend, right? Goes all the way back down through the other side about as high as it came up through it, and it just settles even back in its overnight range. However, looking at the other three indexes, right, talk about some weakness here. When these boxes start when the opening bell rings, that's how you read them. So as you look at this, and they're all developed from before that. So as you look at what's going on here, can't get in value, can't get above value very low, and then just falls off. And the same for the other three. So as you look at yesterday's distributions, right, this is today's value area overlaid on yesterday's action. So this is what we're going to be watching today. But we have, the Russell had a normal distribution. However, the NASDAQ had three separate distributions. The ES had two distributions, and so did the Dow. So we've got little, single prints or raceways between them, right, where only one 30-minute bar traded. This ES is drawn incorrectly on this one, but it will be drawn on the next thing correctly. But you get the idea. The raceway is just a little bit bigger than I've got marked here. But so what we want to see, right, do they get out of these lower distributions and up to the upper end distributions? That's going to tell you that the bears are running out of steam. So far overnight, they've kept these three indices, right, and their lower distributions or below. So before we get into that, let's look at the ES real quick. So as we look at, back in time here, and this is the split distribution for the ES, on Wednesday of last week, on the 14th, we really spiked up, right, with that drug news, right, held it up, and we haven't really taken out or got back below that gap that comes from Tuesday's high, right? So right around the 3090-ish, area. And then we also have a poor low from last Thursday that's right around basically 3090. So we need to trade below there to fix that, and we need to trade through this these single prints or this raceway to correct that from yesterday's inventory. We could potentially get both of these things to happen today. So looking at all the indices, and I've got these zones drawn out here in the block. So again, the NASDAQ above 10,725, and then you've got this block here, and then you've got the lower distribution really is 10,607, right? So we want to see if it can get above that, and you can see the overnight high, right, is below that marker. So looking at the ES, it did get into this distribution. It just has one. It goes from 32.35 half to 32.46, and it did get up in the overnight session up to 32.39. So it started to breach in there and then rejected back out. The Dow, the lower distribution is 26,632. The upper is 26,718. And this is, you can do this yourself on a 30-minute bar chart if you set them on there. You're just looking for where for each tick, during a range that there was only one 30-minute period that traded. That's called a single print or a raceway. So and then you can mark them on your charts and you can see what's going on. So you can be, I guess, a little bit more bearish, right? As long as we hold in these lower distributions, we start getting in the next distribution up for the Nasdaq or in this upper distributions for the Dow and the ES, and I would not recommend being bearish anymore. So that's another little line in the sand for you today. So looking at the sequences overnight just for the session, this isn't anything else, it's just looking at a micro draw just for the session. You can see coming out of this low again, holding 3209 is going to be a little bit more bullish. Taking it out, right, unless we get another new high, is going to add some fuel for the bears. And you can see that they're not really able to do anything with conviction in the overnight, just as far as the session traders for the ES. Same pattern exists for the Russell, right? As we come up here, holding that, so they need to take the Russell back down below 1480 half. And then we could do the same thing looking at the Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq is already sloppily traded, so it is the weaker. It had the 3 distributions yesterday, so I think the bears really have it going on here for the Nasdaq, to be honest with you. And you can see no challenge on the 61.8 and selling at the halfway back short. So if I was going to be shorting anything, I'd still rather be doing it with the Nasdaq. Looking at the rest of these, and I'm going to run out of time. So let's just look at these indices, and I'll share the overnight value again, but watch these distributions that I pointed out, right? You want to see if you're staying below it. That's going to confirm. Remember, right around 30.90, 30.89, just keep that in mind. That's an area that needs repaired on the profile. If you see, that once you trade down to there, if we do, and you can't get any conviction lower, look for some potentially powerful reversals coming out of that. What the bears need to do is they need to push it down below there, and then they need to hold below 30.90, basically 31.90. Hope you guys have a great day. If you like this technical analysis, give the video a thumbs up, and I will talk to you on Monday. Everyone have a great weekend.